Hello and welcome back to episode 12 of Everything in the Sky with me, the Rusted Gamer. And I haven't been online all that much lately. We're probably just about totally caught up now with what I had already pre in the can for episodes. So we are all caught up. So let's go over what I have been doing a little bit in my free time while I've been playing. The first thing I've been doing is experimenting a little bit more with the backpack mod, specifically all these different upgrades that the backpacks have. And yeah, they're pretty amazing. There's a magnet upgrade that will just suck items directly into the backpack. It's got all kinds of filtering options, which I've only just started playing with, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. But there's also this stack upgrade, and check that out. Well, we go from 64 blocks a stack to 1,024. So drastic upgrade to storage. I already had more blocks of copper than I'll probably ever need, but if you want to turn the system on, like more than like 100 playthroughs at that point by the time it's all filled up. And I've killed a ton of withers now. Once I got used to their charging explosion attack, I kind of figured things out, and that was fantastic. I didn't realize it had like a charging explosion. So the wither, I must have been killed by the wither. I don't know, 40 or 50 times just to kill like two or three. Getting all frustrated, even with all my best equipment, and then I kind of figured out how the attack worked and how it changed color. And yeah, then I managed to kill a whole bunch. I'm probably up around 20, 25 now. And basically, I'm limited by the fact that I don't have a readily available supply of soul sand, which is something that's not as easy to come by in this mod pack. So let's head over to the mob farm real quick. So here we are over at the mob farm. It's looking pretty good. This is my wither cage. I can deploy a wither in here. It gets stuck in here, and I can just melee kill it with the sword. Nothing special, and it's not able to target me or anything. It doesn't suffocate, so I mean, from that point of view, it's kind of too bad. I just can't spawn it and forget it. I have to kill it, but at least I have the option and the ability to do so easily, unlike the previous fight. And then over here, when we get down there, and I apologize, it's probably going to get loud. We have our spawning area for hostile mobs, where I don't even have to kill them. The magma blocks underneath will usually kill most of them, and then sometimes entity training comes into play. But check this out. Check all the stuff we have out here from the mob. Some of these eggs didn't come from the farm. I brought them over. Everything up here came from the farm. I got two more nether stars all set up and ready to go for probably a beacon at some point. This part still manual. This part is still manual. I'm gonna have to rebuild it a little bit. We got a bunch of peaceful mobs up here where their spawners. You wash them down into the pit. Pit siphons them into the kill chamber. And then they die with everything else, either to the magma blocks or entity cannon. And I could make this automatic if I wanted to, but I'm going to rebuild the whole thing anyway, so it's not really a big deal. And there you can go. See everything inside of there. I've got magma cubes and wither skeletons spawning up top. I don't know what else is up there spawning. Nope. I got Blaze. Yep. Blaze just entity crammed to death. All right, we're back at base. And really, I haven't been playing in a few weeks because I've been struggling with inspiration. I think when I built this island, I bit off a little bit more than I could chew. Um, 'Cause I got the outlines of a couple of buildings. I actually rather like that, although it's kind of roughed out and it needs to be built upon. But I'm struggling with all the rest of it. I tried to build a couple of different buildings. I had a few different designs, but I don't like how any of the building is going together with the island itself. The circular nature of the island with my boxy style of builds. Um, so I'm going to pivot a little bit, and I'm going to go and do something that I enjoy doing, which is building farms. And I'm going to keep this island here. I'm going to continue to come back to it and build on it. I'm not going to abandon it, but I'm going to do something that I enjoy doing while I work for inspiration on stuff to build over here. And then maybe I'll just make this island, instead of a big factory like it is currently, just a decorative island in some way. So what I'm going to actually do is basically rebuild my entire factory. Um, I like this. I like how it came out. I like how some of the farms are built on this island, but some of them keep breaking, especially the crops farm. I think, as the chunks load and unload. And I want to redo some of this to change how the design works a little bit. And I want to build it in a more three-dimensional nature instead of just one great big long line. So what I did is I built a portal out here, and we now have a spot out here where I'm going to just build that. I'm going to build one big factory. I'm going to kind of take a little bit of inspiration from the mill buildings of New England a couple of 100 years ago, big kind of brickish type buildings. So I'm going to build out there, and I'm going to build pretty much literally from the top down. So let's just go ahead and head out to the empty area for now. So here we are. This is where I'm going to build my big factory. Now, first off, I'm going to do my best to build as much of the stuff in same chunk as I can, or at least the mechanisms, to help make sure nothing breaks. But I'm hoping that being in a multi-height system setup, and all relatively in the same chunks to help avoid any of that breakage anyways, because everything is kind of loaded at the same time. If you can notice from the area, there is nothing here. Nothing loads in these chunks. That's how far out from everything I am, which is why I chose this area. And it's very close to our main island still, so I can travel back and forth pretty easily. And I brought my Create backpack. Check it out. With this stacked here, I can fit basically everything from Create into one backpack. It's absolutely fantastic, and a little scary if somehow I died and lost it. It's not indestructible. There is an upgrade for that, but I don't have it yet. So this is where I'm going to build. Every floor is going to be 3 layers, so I can have an empty layer in the middle, like you see there. The plan for that is so I have a space to run piping, things of that nature, or even hide some of large vaults if I need to put any large vaults in. So that was actually planned out. And like I said, I'm going to have it multi-tiered. This might be the cobblestone generation area, and I have an idea for a farm on that. I'm going to actually build it like probably in the next 20 minutes. And then that'll drop off onto the grinders and so on and so forth. So this is roughly the design I'm going to do for the cobblestone generator. We might be able to put the last line of pumps in. I'm not sure if they'll break or not, because it'll be a little bit before I have a chance to test it. But basically the same design as before. You got your tanks, your pumps. I'll waterlog all the pumps, and then when they pump lava out, it'll automatically turn to cobblestone. And the windmill sails will get picked up, put down, and break the cobblestone. Same basic farm I already had. So we're going to go ahead and put this floor together now. This floor is going to be for the gravel area. This is where we're going to get all of our ores. We're going to make all of our ores out of that, including a couple of extra things. And I might put cobblestone and, the stone and smooth stone, everything involving that stuff on this floor too. But the first thing I'm going to do is start with the layout of the floor. So let's go ahead and get the floor installed. Fantastic. And now that we have this machine built, whoa, I did not accommodate the amount of resources needed. All right, well, at any rate, now that we have the machine built, we can just pick it up, put it down, no worries. Time to go and get some more resources. So this is the entire loop for gravel sifting. It's not fully hooked up yet, and it's in a slightly different configuration because I'm adding additional materials, like over here, for the ability to automatically create zinc, for the ability to automatically create brass. But this is basically the whole system. And what I actually want to do, I think, is instead of having 2 block spacing here, I'm going to move to a 3 block spacing design. And then I'm going to bring another floor this way. And this is the side I'm going to put the sand sifting and the dust sifting on. Right? And then I'm going to also have that on a 3 block system, so that the end storage for each system is ending kind of like this, right? Like this will be the end storage. You'll have some overlapping belts here because you'll have belts coming from the other direction as well to go to like this storage here. But I'm thinking I can conserve space that way, and what I'll end up doing is I'll just run that storage down to the ground floor, put a wall behind it with all of the redstone stuff that I require to turn everything on and off as I build it. Um, and then the ground floor will just have a wall in the middle of it with a lot of storage on it. And that'll go a long ways towards making the ground floor not just be one great big open area, which is something I thought about and I decided I didn't want to have happen. Because that's not how it works. Factories aren't just big and empty. They have lots of stuff in them. If it's not offices, it's production or whatever else is being done in that factory. Need a bed. So that's going to be the plan. And just by happenstance, where I put that lines up perfectly here. So hopefully I can put all of the floor down and I won't have to mess with it at all or, change the size of it at all. It's also in chunk, which is something I think is probably going to be a really good idea to have happen to help prevent any issues with chunks loading and unloading and causing damage to the various elements. All right, let's try this. Full netherite beacon. All right, so just like that, we have our beacon set up. We've got some of our floor laid out a little more. I'm going to do some pruning now. I got to take this stuff down. Hopefully I got instant miner now with the beacon. Well, I guess I kind of foreshadowed it. I went to go pick up my create backpack using this pickaxe. First mistake. Second mistake being next to a beacon. And then the third mistake, having a backpack on a casing. So my create backpack fell into the void and I lost it. Basically everything I had for the create backpack. So it set me back a little bit, but I've already been over here and rebuilt a new backpack. And I got just about everything I think I need now. So I'm going to go ahead and never take this out of my inventory ever again. It meant I had to rebuild farms. I needed to now strip wood again because I had no casings. I needed precision mechanisms again because I didn't have any more robotic arms or anything like that. So yeah, it was a little unfortunate. All right, check it out. I got the steam engine built that is going to power the factory. And this is pretty much ready to turn on. Let's go take a quick look. Down inside, you have all the mechanisms operating. We now have 8 engines instead of 6 that we have on the other island. And all the modules are individual. Everything has already been set up and hopefully programmed correctly. So if I have enough rotational force, we'll be able to turn this thing on. And I'm thinking it'll probably produce more than 1 million rotational force. It is definitely big enough. Inside of it here, we have an absolutely massive lava tank. Apparently, there isn't really a size limit to fluid tanks. So this thing is absolutely huge. It goes all the way down here and actually through the floor. Underneath here, you can, obviously, this is the lava area farm. So what I did is I brought the fluid tank down through the floor, and now I feel like there's a lot less wasted space. It's a lot cleaner. I didn't realize I could even do that. I didn't know I could make them that big. But I'm hoping these guys have enough range to get over here. If not, I can always make a slight change. Not a big deal. And I think we're just about ready to turn this thing on. I have a feeling if I connect this, it's going to stop the mechanism because we're operating a lot of pumps. Yep, okay. So if maybe we disconnect there. And how about here too? And we'll only power 1 engine if I got this correct. Come on, turn on. All right, I'm just going to add some more water wheels. Wait a minute. Before I add some more water wheels, what if we shut off one side down here? All right. Oh, we're moving. Okay. All right, look at that. Disconnecting the water wheels. We're at full power, I think. Let's go up, make sure. Yeah, check that out. Let's go up and make sure everything is turned on now. Yep, there we are. Everything is connected, and we are indeed over 1 million stress units. I'm going to drop into spectator mode for this, just to make it a little easier and a little quicker. So we got all lava collection down in there. Everything is nicely filled up. I am going to change these to red panes as well, I believe. I think it looks better that way. I do have to add a floor at this level here to hide this, because this will also be a transfer area or power for the rest of the factory, which I'm going to build around this in a U formation. come up top, everything looks fantastic. We have a rotational speed controller up here so we can adjust the speed. Oh man, I love it. I love it. This is this might be my favorite build so far. Yeah, you know what? I think this is my favorite build so far. And I like this fact that you can kind of actually go down inside of here too and check inside like this. It's reasons like this why I love the Create mod. Hopefully I have enough blocks to go all the way around. All right, well, interestingly enough, it somehow used all of the stone, but not all of the layered calcite, and all of that was totally full. So why didn't it put some stone down? Either way, though, I mean, well, this is going to be basically the footprint of the factory, and yeah, I mean, aside from the fact that it's absolutely massive, it looks pretty good. All right, we're back. I've been pretty busy. I built a brick factory over here. I'm going to need a lot of bricks for the walls of my actual factory. So I built a bunch of different kinds, including terracotta. Um, don't like the mossy worn bricks. Like if I'm going to use that in the walls, I might go back and do that on by hand in select locations. So that means I'm probably going to have to figure out another worn brick. So I built a little wall over here, and like if I'm only including all of these different style bricks and not the mossy ones, I'm a little concerned that the textures are both going to blend together, and also potentially be just kind of either so noisy that it doesn't look good, or so blended that you don't even notice it. Which I guess that part would probably be decent. It all kind of depends on how the mechanism runs, because of how it pulls from the inventory when I build the mechanism to build the walls. And this is roughly what I'm thinking about for the walls. Not entirely sold on having this little air gap behind it, but I think it can be useful for a few different things. Either access to get in the back, because the present system that I have mocked up, I like it. I'm not sure I want to put the redstone link on the front side of the threshold switch here. Like I might want to just hide that in the back. Right, and if this layered brick here is gone, then you have plenty of space to program it to whatever it's going to be programmed to up top. Uh, and I think everything would work just fine. And you also have the ability to see the item filter for the items coming down just by kind of like clicking it and opening it up. The only thing I'd probably do at some point is put some sort of light source behind here so that it's also lit up. And I already have a ton of blue ice, so any place where we don't have item filtration actually going on and it's just pushing the items, it's all going to be blue ice. So I'm going to kind of figure out the last decisions on how I want to do some of this. The windows, for sure, I would have to go back and manually put in. And like you can clearly see that there's an extra gap there, even if I just use regular blocks. But what I did do is I hid illumination blocks behind it, right? So it is always going to be an illuminated window. Right, so here we are. It is always going to be an illuminated window. I think this looks pretty good, both from the front and the back. I'll definitely have to put bushes and stuff along the exterior portions of this to make it not quite so bland. And there'll be a couple of entranceways as well. All right, check it out. Here's our mechanism. All built and assembled, pretty much ready to go. Filled up with everything we need. So if we come over here, I figured what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these chiseled quartz blocks over here instead of just the quartz bricks like this. I think that's going to look good. I'm going to have two different layers of the blue ice. This is now going to be blue ice, and this brick underneath, to the side behind, is now going to be sea lanterns. Right here, as you can kind of see from underneath, it actually provides a nice glow to the ice. And it'll also make sure that nothing ever spawns back here in this hollow space. And I like that. And most everything else here you see is going to be as it is. I got 3 layers of floor instead of one, so I have enough space up top when I get ready to do the second floor to put down my rail line. Um, there are windows I'm going to have to do manually. There's no other way to do it. The windows, also these doors, and all of these mechanisms as I start getting building the storage. as I start building the storage, is all going to have to be done by hand, which is not a big deal. That comes with the game. All right, I think we're just about ready to turn this thing on. One of the things I did do is inside of these chests, I kind of staggered how all the different bricks went in to compensate for how the players pull from the chest rather than pull all of just one brick before it gets to the next. Because it'll pull down and it'll pull in order in the chest. So I'm hoping that'll add some variation to how the walls get put together. And then on all of these filters, I started with only dark colored blocks at the lower portion. And then as I went up, I added some of the red blocks in, mostly closer to the top. Um, Figuring I'm going to start dark at the bottom. This whole building is going to be, I think, 3 floors. So as I move to the top, it's going to become more of the lighter color bricks and not the darker color bricks. I think that's how I'm going to go for the texture. You know what? Let's just go ahead and turn this thing on and see if it works. Hold it. Always face towards motion. Okay. I might have to fix this a little bit sometimes on the corners. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Go up and watch from the perch. That's genuinely amazing. I love watching the Create Mod in action. That's fantastic. I think this is going to be somewhere in the vicinity of 25,000 bricks when it's all said and done. And you can see right there, stuff on the corners. I'm going to have to fix that. That's just, there's nothing I can do about that. Well, joining me up here on my perch, the first floor is looking to be, I don't know, probably like 40% done when you really start thinking about it. At some point, I'm going to have to go through. I'm going to have to start mocking up some of the individual, like little storage chambers, right? So I can do something like this where I divert water flow around to all the different storage locations. And I can do that on both sides of either side of the hallway. So, I mean, there's probably 25 to 30 storage items set up in that size. And I have quite a long ways to go. I mean, I think that's about 145 blocks in length. And then I'm definitely going to put 2 more floors up on top. And I'm going to be pretty motivated to get those floors laid out pretty quickly. So I can actually start getting some of the factory elements going. I do not want to leave a factory on my grass, in my courtyard. Like that's got to go. I gotta fix some stuff. Um, but I mean, if I'm gonna put all of the sifting related stuff on the 3rd floor, the top floor, I think I'm gonna have a more than adequate amount of space, and I'm gonna have to start working on. I want to get there. I really want to get to that because that means I can start kind of marking out layout. I'm going to use water in a lot of places to move a lot of our items around. Obviously, I'm going to need conveyor belts, of course, as well in the factory portions to actually build the various items that we're building. Um, but yeah, I got the plan, and I think that's where we're going to call it a day for today. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, thumbs up, subscribe. You know the deal. And until the next episode, have a great day.